The lion could roar. Grrr, grrr. And the hyena could howl. Let me tell you what the naughty hyena did. One day, he went for a walk, and he walked and walked until he got so tired and so hungry. And he sat down and cried to God, God, why don't you give me something to eat? Even a rotten bone, even a rotten bone. I'm so hungry. I'm so tired. He felt so tired. He sat down and he said, oh, I need food. I'm so tired. God, why don't you give me even a rotten bone? I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. I can smell some food. I can smell some food. Oh, I can smell some food. Yes, there's a calf there. There's a calf there. Oh, God, are you the one who has provided this? Are you the one? No, you're not the one. It's my own effort. It's my sense of smell. Yes, I'm the one who has spotted it. Yeah. Where should I start from? I need to eat. I need to eat. Oh, it's tethered. It's tethered. Let me start with the mukwa. Yes, so that I can untie it. Let me cut this mukwa. Yes. Yes. I'm now ready for the feast. But before I eat, there's something I should do. Yes. The bigger tree. I need to get the bigger tree. And you know what? Once I brush my teeth with the bigger tree, I'll have a great appetite. A great appetite. Yes. Let me go for the bigger tree. So, the hyena went to the bigger tree and brushed its teeth. And he came back full of appetite, ready to eat. But before he ate, he stepped on the calf that was lying down there. Oh, the calf stood up. The calf stood up. And the hyena was confused. And before he could comprehend what was going on, the calf ran away. The calf ran away. Yes, the calf ran away. And hyena was lost. Hyena was lost. He didn't know what to do. And he tried to talk. But there was no voice. He tried to talk again. And that explains why hyenas never talk. And that is the end of my story.
I hope you remember how Hyena found the calf, and finally, because he felt like he's the one who had provided for himself, the calf ran away and the hyena ended up crying. I want us to do an analysis of the story. What kind of narrative is that? Maybe that's the question that you're asking yourself during the narration. And when you look at it, it is a kind of story that tries to explain why hyenas don't talk. And in this case, we always call such kind of narrative a why story, an ideological narrative, or an explanatory narrative. So what are the common characteristics of such stories? These are kind of stories that tells us why things exist the way they do. And I'm sure when you're in your primary school, you once looked at the story of why the hen scratches the ground. And that is because he had been given a razor blade by the hawk, and now the hawk still came back for the cheeks of the hen so that he could pay himself the lost razor blade. So in this case, I want us to look at the finer details of this story. It is a story that tells us why the hyena doesn't talk, and that makes it an archaeological narrative. We still have use of fantasy in this story, and you know, fantasy is a scenario whereby you could be sitting somewhere and maybe you start thinking of you being in Dubai, and maybe you're the greatest queen of Dubai or the queen of Hong Kong. And when you create such kind of imagination, maybe you're in class, but that is what is in your mind. That is fantasy. So in the same way, when we look at hyena trying to pray, that is fantasy. Can you imagine a hyena praying? That is something that just comes out of human imagination. When we have a scenario whereby the hyena is talking and trying to ask, should I start with the tail? Should I start with the neck? All that is creation of fantasy. And in most cases, it is meant to make the story sweeter. So we have use of fantasy. And also when you look into the story, we have a moral lesson like any other narrative. At the end of the story, we learn that when we get daily provisions, we should thank our God because he is the provider. Now, hyena prayed to God when he was hungry, but when he spotted the calf, he said that his sense of smell was the one that had given him a reason to feast and celebrate. And at the end of it all, there was no feast, neither was there any celebration. Now, to those sitting for the examination, and this goes strictly to the Form 4s, there's a likelihood of you having an oral narrative. Now that in the previous exam, we saw a poem coming in paper 2. So you are likely to meet a narrative in paper 2. And in this case, the common questions will come. What are some of the economic activities that we can capture from the narrative? The economic activity in this narrative is that the presence of a calf shows that there is cattle rearing or livestock keeping. And now that is the economic activity. And maybe social activity, we can talk of believing in God or trusting in God, because when hyena was hungry, the first thing he thought of was, God, I'm hungry, provide me even with a rotten bone. So this clearly shows that it is, there's that kind of relationship with God, especially when it comes to provisions. So there's many more things. There are many more things that we can look at. Maybe the character traits, those are the key areas that they ask in the examination. And maybe someone can ask you, what is the character trait of the hyena? Number one, the hyena is ungrateful, because when he got the calf, he didn't give thanks to God. We can also look at him as foolish, because he started dealing with the rope that had tied, they had tied, that had been tied on the calf. And now after eating that rope, it was inevitable that when he stepped on the calf would wake up and it would run away. So that portrays him as a foolish animal. And remember, don't say stupid. And I think that comes to the end. It brings me to the end of our analysis today. Till we meet next time for another analysis.